Hi everyone, my name is Joey, Dad's oldest son. Wow, Dad has so many friends and family that loved him. I can tell you, both Dad and Mel love you all so very much. Thank you for joining us on this day of celebration. I decided not to speak in front of you today because of the great anxiety it would have caused me. Instead, I went in a different direction. I hope you all understand. I have put together some short videos, each of which tells a story about Dad and his legacy. I had a wonderful time putting these together, combing through pictures, and reminiscing about the details of each. In some scenes, I used artificial intelligence to create an image or two, because a photo didn't exist. I hope that some scenes and images you find funny. It's okay to laugh. Dad's right there laughing with us. Also, when watching AI in action, you may notice some inconsistencies with various pictures. I hope you understand that I put them there to help tell Dad's story. That said, please sit back, relax, and join me in congratulating Dad on this day of celebration. Thank you, Dad, for the days spent fishing at Lake Gregory. The lessons I learned went way beyond bait and tackle. They were about patience, resilience, and finding joy in the simple things. At the lake, I remember feeling the spray of the fountain on my face. I learned that fishing wasn't just a sport, but a reflection of life. You taught me about anticipation, patience, and the joy of success. These experiences sparked a passion that I now wish to share, a legacy of love and patience. So, thanks, Dad, for not just teaching me how to fish, but how to navigate life itself. In the heart of a family, there's a rhythm, a beat. It's the sound of a baseball smacking into a glove, the crack of a bat. Each image, a testament to a dad's love, his legacy. From simple games of catch to turning double plays, a shared passion passed down. He set it in motion, and now it's our turn to keep playing. This, a celebration of life, a tribute to the man who taught us the beauty of baseball. Not many of Dad's friends know that 50 years ago, Dad was an IT nerd. In the late 60s, early 70s, Dad was an IT operations manager at the Crocker Bank. He hated it. He left IT around 1974. It simply didn't bode well with his entrepreneurial spirit, but more on that later. But, wow. Dad made a lot of friends at the bank. Dad has always been so good at keeping in touch with old friends. Good thing for me. I didn't know it then, but I was cut out to work on mainframes. It was 1980, I was nearing graduation, and I was working at the Foot Locker at the Lakewood Mall. The mall was great for flirting with chicks, but that was about it. I told Dad, because he asked, that I was going to be a Foot Locker manager. What the hell? Dad had other ideas entirely, thank goodness. It took some convincing, but Dad finally got through to me that working at the bank would be a better career move. Next thing I knew, an old friend of Dad's, Ben Gilbert, a manager at Crocker Bank, called me for an interview. The rest was history. Thanks, Dad, for asking me what I was going to do with my life. Dad has always been a doer. He was always proactive and productive. He never kicked the can down the road. I admired that about him because I'm the complete opposite. Dad was a man of good habits, getting stuff done and running his never-ending errands. Mel would try to get him to sit and relax. But he'd just keep going. I can't resist telling you. Every day at 7:30 a.m., like clockwork, nature called out to Dad. A moment of solitude, a moment of peace, a moment that was as regular as the ticking of the clock on the wall. It was truly uncanny. I learned when to and when not to call Dad based on his very busy schedule. I steered away from Meggie and Maisie's walks and feeding times. I stayed away from the days and times he worked with his clients. On the phone, you all know, Dad was so easy to talk to. I miss our phone calls, Dad. Finally, at 6 p.m., it's time for Dad to unwind. A glass of red wine in hand, he savors the flavors. Time to catch an Angel game or an episode of Blue Bloods with Mel. Time to relax, Dad. You've earned it. If Dad could have a beer with some of his heroes, I bet his first pick would be Ronald Reagan. Imagine them just chilling and having a laugh. Next up, I'm certain that he would pick Mickey Mantle. Dad was a huge Yankees fan, especially while growing up in upstate New York. I can almost picture them sharing jokes and reminiscing about the glory days of baseball. Let's not forget about Tiger Woods. Over the years, Dad has admired numerous golfers. I strongly believe that if he had the chance to have a beer with any of them, it would be Tiger himself. And of course, who else but Mike Trout would be on Dad's list? Over the years, he's had a few favorite Angel players, but Mike, he would be his top pick. You know something, Dad? Given what I know now, I'd give anything to join you for one last icy schooner over at the 49er. Here's something you may not have known about Dad. Dad hated flying. Over my entire life, not once did I ever fly with Dad. I can only remember one time, Dad and Melanie flew to Australia and then over to Hawaii to meet Becky and I in Maui for his 50th birthday. So, Dad, because I can, using AI, I'm going to put you on that plane. Let's step it up, because I can. Well done, Dad. In the late 60s, a remarkable story began unfolding within the walls of Crocker Bank. Two seemingly ordinary men, my father and his friend Frank Carey, were about to change the landscape of sports fandom forever. They were the architects of what we now know as fantasy football. This was no intricate point system. It was simple. One touchdown equaled 1 point. Every Monday, the sports page's box scores would serve as the judge, the determinant of each team's touchdown count for the week. The role of the commissioner was proudly performed by Dad, tracking touchdowns for each team with the precision of a pencil on a paper spreadsheet. Each team owner had to call Dad by Saturday night to pick 5 of their 10 players to play on Sunday. No emails, no texts, no websites in the 60s. Their legacy lives on in the Beanshriver Polizzi touchdown-only league. So I say to you, arguably, that fantasy football was born in a corporate office by two friends with a love for the game. Today, on Dad's 80th birthday, Dad demanded we poke some fun. All right, Dad? Brace yourself. Dad was an absolute fanboy of American Idol, The Voice, and Dancing with the Stars. Imagine Dad, our numbers guy, as a contestant on his favorite shows. Here goes. First, here he is on Idol. hitting the high notes. And here he is, six-fingered on The Voice, killing it. And oh yeah, Dancing with the Stars, geriatric style. Every time I see this guy, the most interesting man in the world, I can't help but think of Dad. He would have been perfect. Here's a fun fact. Dad couldn't even look at a cat without breaking out in hives. But today, we've got him the perfect gift. A room full of cats and a face mask. It never failed. I'd call Dad and ask, "What you up to?" He'd always say, "Oh, about 5, 6. He'd say it every time, without fail. Cracked me up.
This is the final game of the 2002 World Series. It is Game 7, Edison Field, the San Francisco Giants and the Anaheim Angels. Molina into left center field, well hit. Off the wall. Spezio coming home. Game 7 is tied.
The guy who understands that a pitcher throws breaking balls on fastball counts, perhaps more than any other Angel, is Bengie Molina. He gets a breaking ball, and the ball hit the top of the fence. A break for the Angels. That ball came very nearly bouncing out of the ballpark. If that had happened, of course, Spezio had to stop at third.
One ball, one strike. Eckstein into left field. Bonds on a bounce. Eckstein on with a leadoff single. Matching whiffs, making moves against one another, and it boils down to Game 7. A 1-1 score in the bottom of the third, and a 1-1 pitch into left field. Another hit. 2 on, nobody out.
Dusty Baker does not have the luxury of keeping anybody else seated in the Giant bullpen. Fine hitting by Erstad. Look how far that ball is outside. 8 inches. Smoke to left.
Salmon with 2 on and nobody out. Runners are going, and Salmon hit by the pitch to load him up. Now they start to stir in the Giants bullpen. But now the left-handed hitting Garrett Anderson walks to the plate with the bases loaded and nobody out. Ripped right field and into the corner. Eckstein scores. Erstad scores. Here's Salmon. 4-1.
A high fastball to Garrett Anderson. Rifle down the right field line. Tim Salmon running the bases angrily. That's as fast as Salmon can get around the bases. And he scored because of this.
We move into the 9th inning. Game number 7. And Troy Percival 6 for 6 in save chances in the postseason. 40 saves during the regular year. Will try to do his thing and end the World Series.
Now you've got Tom Goodwin up there, who is a threat to bunt. The one thing about Percival, he is not a real good fielder. So look for Goodwin to perhaps either take a strike or try to bunt.
To the right side, Kennedy. The lead man is out. 1 away in the inning. 1 on, 1 out. The tying run comes to the plate for the Giants. A hit, a force out, a walk. And Edison International Field just got awfully quiet. Top of the 9th inning of Game 7. 4-1 Anaheim. 2 out. Kenny Lofton with 2 on, 2 out.
If Kenny Lofton gets the ball down, he can pull it. That's his long ball, down and in.
Driven into right center field. Erstad says he has it. The Angels, world champions.
For as long as I can remember, Dad loved the Angels. Winning the World Series in 2002 was epic for Dad, and I'd bet it was for many others in this room. Thank you for being a part of Dad's journey, for sharing in his laughter, for being a chapter in his story. As we continue this celebration, let his love echo in our hearts, resonate in our laughter, and live on in our memories. Dad, here's to a life well lived, a love well shared, and a legacy well remembered. Thank you.